Hello and welcome to the State of Education Utah at RISE 2022. My name is John Arthur, and I'm the 2021 Utah Teacher of the Year. I teach sixth grade at Meadowlark Elementary in Salt Lake City. And today it is my honor to host a conversation with the leader of our state, Governor Spencer Cox. Governor, welcome to RISE 2022.
Thanks, John. It's great to be with you. Again, congratulations on being the Teacher of the Year, and I'm so excited for this conversation.
Thank you so much. Well, our conversation will be brief but comprehensive as we discuss the innovative programs and initiatives that Utah is leveraging to connect our students to opportunities. So let's start with the connections between businesses and schools. You recently introduced the Utah Adopt a School program, where private businesses and schools form partnerships where their goals and needs align. So how has this program improved educational opportunities for students at schools with these partnerships? And also, can an elementary school like mine be adopted, or is this a work-based learning program intended just for older students?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second one first. And yes, your elementary school can be adopted. This is not just work-based learning, although we would love more work-based learning opportunities. This program is really an opportunity to connect all ages of students with industry and business professionals. We hope that some of that would include this relevant workforce experience for our secondary students, but teachers or district representatives can create a request for anything they would like to seek a partnership in accomplishing. This could include monetary donations, time spent volunteering with students in tutoring or reading. Utah is one of the first states in the country to create an Adopt a School program, which connects schools and businesses that have similar values together. These connections can really help with volunteer time for projects and donations to help in anything the school district needs. We've been engaged in a marketing campaign, and so far we've had about 2 million impressions, 2,200 click-throughs, and 13 new signups. So we're just getting started, but it really is this idea of helping our schools that have needs meet those very generous volunteers and professionals out there who are looking for ways to get back, but maybe don't know where to get started.
Jeez, that's fabulous. Thank you. Also, you recently signed into law the Grow Your Own Teacher and School Counselor Pipeline Program, which provides over $9 million to help fund college for future teachers and school counselors. And those folks are already working as paraprofessionals and staff in our schools. I've personally helped two friends at Meadowlark Elementary fill out the forms for the Grow Your Own program in our own district. And I'm really excited for the day where they get to return to Meadowlark Elementary as fully licensed teachers. So I want to ask you, how many teachers and counselors do you anticipate this program could bring into Utah schools? Also, what more do you plan to do to address the teacher shortage we're facing, which nationally is anticipated to be 200,000 teachers by 2025?
Yeah, so this is one of those things that keeps me up at night, John. It's how do we find that next generation of teachers? Who's the next Utah Teacher of the Year, and how do we get them excited about teaching? So this program provides scholarships in a one-time about $9.2 million package to help fund education for those in Utah who want to pursue a career as a teacher or school counselor. As you mentioned, those who are completing a school counseling master's degree are eligible for the program, but we're looking at those paraprofessionals, those who are there, and the scholarships can be used for tuition, books, school fees, and stipends for mentors. It would make sense that as we're looking for more teachers, we would look at those people who are already engaged in the classroom, who know that they're passionate about this, who love our students and care about teaching and giving them these unique opportunities to help them get into the classroom as a fully licensed teacher. These scholarships can be used for tuition, books, school fees, stipends for mentors, whatever it needs to be used for. In total, that $9.2 million will fund approximately 525-ish teachers and counselors to become licensed educators. We have had $4 million worth of additional requests above and beyond that. So that's the good news. We know that it's working. people are really interested, but this is just the beginning. It's a great start, and we look for new ways to find and train those who are interested in being in our classroom. And that will include expanding that funding to meet the needs that we now know are out there. There's a lot of question, oh, is this going to be enough? Will it be too much?
Right.
But now we know that we need more. So we can all be part of recruiting and retaining educators, though, by establishing positive community and family, positive community and family support for our teachers. We're all part of helping teachers feel welcome and appreciated. And I've said for a long time that teaching used to be kind of a destination occupation. Where I grew up, it was the one attorney in our little town, the doctor in our little town, and the teachers. They were held at this just high status. And I believe people like me, people like legislators, can do so much in helping change that culture around teaching, making sure that we're giving them the respect that they deserve, and not just on top of the pay that they deserve, to make sure that it's a destination occupation for so many.
I love how you brought it back to the community. I know that in my school, the Grow Your Own program is focused on those paraprofessionals, and those are usually people who come right from our neighborhood. And to bring them back into the classroom as teachers in that neighborhood, it's incredibly powerful, especially for the kids.
Yeah, they end up being the best teachers.
I agree. So you mentioned teacher retention. Attracting folks in the profession is hard, but keeping them in the classroom is even harder. So in Utah, about 4 out of 10 teachers leave the profession during the first 5 years of their career. What efforts are you leading to not only recruit teachers, but retain them too?
Yeah, this is hard, right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense to spend all of this time and effort recruiting on the one side, only to lose half of them in the first 5 years of teaching. So I believe that the most important investment we can make as a state to improve outcomes is in our teachers. I've said that before. Look, if we had a competition, we had 2 students that were identical, and you let me choose the teacher, and I let you choose everything else. You can choose the curriculum, you can choose the computer programs, the books. I'll let you, the school design. You get everything else. I'm going to win that one every single time. So we need to invest in them. First, I believe financially. Part of this, when we're very fortunate in Utah to have a 1.9%, 2% unemployment, every governor's dream until you get there. And now you realize that we don't have enough people to fill all of these jobs. So we're not just competing at a small scale, we're competing at a very large scale for those teachers. And if they can make double the salary that they're making right now, it doesn't matter how much they love kids, it's going to be really hard to keep them. So we have to invest financially, and that means increasing teacher salary. But as I mentioned before, we also need to create conditions that foster creative and positive work environments so that they look forward to coming to work every day, and ensure that all educators have access to relevant ongoing professional development. So this last session, we began that investment with a 6% increase to our per pupil funding. That's going to mean a big increase in teacher salaries this year, which is much needed, especially with inflation growing as fast as it is. We've also got $10 million to give bonuses to teachers that have taken on extra assignments, and then $8.7 million for the teacher and student success program, as well as one-time funding that will provide paid professional development hours for each educator. So we had record funding for schools and for teachers this year, and we're hoping that's really going to make a difference for teachers who feel the support from the legislature and the communities to make their lives a little easier.
Definitely. I know a lot of my friends are hoping that record funding means record salaries. So fingers crossed, but I appreciate all these efforts. I know that you are a proud product of the schools in Sanpete County. And we've talked in the past about how the inequities in rural Utah are similar to those found in more urban, multicultural communities. So what do we need to do to provide our kids in rural schools with more equitable educational outcomes and opportunities?
Well, John, I really appreciate the way you phrased the question, because I think, and I believe, and I've seen this, that this is an opportunity. Sometimes politics, oftentimes politics gets in the way of good policy. And certainly the politics tends to be very different, I would say, in kind of rural and red America, and more of our urban multicultural, which tend to lean more blue. But I believe that this is an area where we can come together, because what we do have in common in those areas, unfortunately, is a lack of investment in our students and in opportunities for our students. So recently, our state created a program to provide add-on funding for students with environmental factors that have historically been connected with the need for additional resources, such as poverty and language barriers. So again, this additional funding for our most at-risk students is going to impact rural Utah, as well as some of our urban Utah schools that have the highest need. We've made initial investments and look forward to prioritizing the growth of this program over the next few years. It was part of my campaign promise. I believe that our state constitution requires us to give a high quality education to every student, regardless of their zip code. And we're trying to follow through on this promise. So this program will provide resources, again, for both urban and rural communities. There are some factors, however, that are unique to rural schools that have to do with a lack of economies of scale, a need for transportation, obviously, where kids live further away from the schools. So we're in the process of working with the Utah State Office of Education, the Board of Education, and the legislature to identify those factors that impact students in our state, so that no matter their zip code, every student will have access to this high quality educational opportunity. And we look forward to that continued partnership, and we're working on new ideas every legislative session.
Thank you for all that work. I know that oftentimes the kids who live the farthest out are the ones left behind, and I appreciate you always keeping them in mind. So, final question. When you ran for governor, you famously traveled around Utah completing service projects in the communities you visited. So this year, thanks to HB 273 here in Utah, teachers can apply for local innovations in civic teaching and learning grants. If you were a teacher, what would innovative civics teaching and learning look like in your classroom? What kinds of hands-on experiences in civic engagement would you want for your students?
Well, you kind of just answered the question, and it is exactly that. They need to have hands-on experiential learning opportunities in civics and quite frankly, every other category of learning. We did something very unique. My wife and I and our team, we visited all 248 incorporated cities and towns in the state of Utah during our campaign, and we did service projects, helping to bring people together. And I think that service component is so important, and something that we've kind of detached from education. My lieutenant governor just got back a couple months ago from a trade mission to Israel, and there they were talking about service and how important that is in their communities. Look, we are as divided as we've been as a nation in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. That's deeply concerning to me, and sadly, that type of political tribalism and the culture wars are now making their way into the classrooms, and I think that's devastating. I think it's wrong. I think it's a mistake, and I think it's something that both parties need to guard against in every way we can. And one way we can do that, again, is to give our children opportunities, real practical opportunities to serve and give back to their communities, to have field trips to iconic places in our states and quite frankly outside of our states. When I was 8 years old, I had an opportunity to go back to Washington, D.C. with my uncle. I'd never been on an airplane. We were incredibly poor. We never traveled anywhere, but my uncle helped. He knew it was important for us to get back there. He worked for the federal government. And so we did. And I remember visiting those hallowed places, and it changed me as a person. It changed my outlook on life. I started reading more. I started paying attention to our history and learning more about our history. And that helped me be a better citizen. And those are the types of opportunities we need to provide our students, and getting government government officials in the classroom will also help those government officials understand what's actually happening in our classroom, what's actually being taught in our classroom, and give them more support for teachers. I've said all along, I wish we had one requirement, and that requirement is that you couldn't serve in the legislature unless you had spent at least a week in the classroom. I think that would change everything, and I'm trying to get more and more of our legislators in the classroom and have that dual experience.
Well, I know you freed up government workers this year to become substitute teachers. I know you substitute taught yourself, and I can't thank you enough for trying to get our leaders back into the place where we are preparing our future leaders to take our places.
I couldn't agree more, John. And again, thank you for what you're doing to prepare the next generation. It's a wonderful partnership and one we can't wait to continue.
Thank you so much. And thank you for joining me in this conversation for RISE 2022.